Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you a 2013 NFL Draft Special for the Cincinnati Bengals. We're handing out draft grades, and we're going to take a look at every last selection the Bengals made this past April, as well as some undrafted free agents that you want to keep an eye on.
The Bengals had 10 draft selections in this year's draft, and they wanted to maximize each one of those picks and fill depth along a very talented roster already. Again, the Bengals don't need much. So when you look at these picks, you see where they wanted to go and what direction they were headed in. They wanted to add more talent for Andy Dalton in that offense. They also wanted to build depth along that offensive line and get better defensively, especially in the secondary. Now, what I like most about the Bengals draft is when you look at Tyler Eifert, you instantly see how they could utilize him. They could split him out as a big wide receiver, get all three tight ends on the field at the same time, a la Stanford with Eifert, Gresham, and also Orson Charles. This helps Andy Dalton. It also bolsters the red zone efficiency for the Bengals. I'm also a big fan of their 6th-round selection, Kobe Hamilton out of Arkansas. This guy, for some reason, plays like he's 6'4", 250 pounds. I've compared him to Terrell Owens in his ability to put the ball in the end zone. Once he gets that ball in his hands, he's looking to score. I love that about him. And in my opinion, I think this guy can push for that 3rd wide receiver spot on this Bengals roster. Another selection that I was a big fan of was the Sean Porter selection out of Texas A&M. Pass rushing ability, and also quietly has an underrated element of dropping back in coverage. And Reed Frago out of Ohio State, I'm a big fan of how he plays a game. Good angular offensive lineman, definitely fills that depth role that they want up front. Now, there were a few head scratchers that I didn't like about the Bengals draft. I know they wanted to come in and find an explosive element out of the backfield. I just don't think Gio Bernard is that guy, especially when Jonathan Franklin is on the board. As a former running back myself, I tend to be a little bit harder on running backs as far as me grading them, and Gio Bernard just didn't have that special quality. Nice back, but not what they wanted, again, especially with Jonathan Franklin, who reminds me a lot of LaShawn McCoy. I also didn't understand the Marcus Hunt selection. When you look at Demontre Moore sitting there on the board available, I think that would have been a better fit and instantly upgraded their pass rush. I don't think you get that with Marcus Hunt, who will be 26 years old. I think he's maxed out on his potential. Definitely was a head scratcher. I think they should have went with Demontre Moore more so than Marcus Hunt. The Bengals have a couple of undrafted free agents that could surprise and make the roster. Look at Larry Black Jr. out of Indiana. This guy had 12 TFLs last season and was a freshman All-American, so I still believe there's a lot of talent and growth there. I think he has a legitimate shot to be a rotational defensive tackle for these guys. And also Jordan Campbell out of New Mexico Highlands, formerly of USC, transferred down to the Division II program and was highly productive. When you look at what he brings to the table, outstanding edge rusher, strength at the point of attack. He also can cover, so that gives you a little bit more flexibility in the back half of your defense, the second level of your defense. So I like Jordan Campbell, and I love his football instincts. Definitely could be a guy that could end up on that roster come September. If the Bengals would have came away with Tyler Eifert, Jonathan Franklin, and Demontre Moore with those first 3 selections, this would have easily been an A+ draft. However, despite all that, they still came away with some talented players. Sean Williams is going to be a fine safety for the Bengals. Kobe Hamilton, Sean Porter, Reed Frago. But I have to be honest, this draft hangs on the success of both Gio Bernard and Marcus Hunt. If they don't pan out, these are 2 high 2nd-round picks. If they don't pan out and provide the Bengals what they really need and what they went into the draft looking for, they could find themselves with the same needs in 2014. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Bengal fan forums for always showing football game plan support.